Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1, part of our What's Next series, as we try to figure out what's going to happen next in the soccer world at all different levels. We've talked about the academy at Atlanta United with Tony Annan. We've talked about supporters groups and youth soccer coaching with Kevin Kinley from the Faction and Inter Atlanta. And we're going to continue on the youth soccer front with Dave Smith of NASA Tophat, the executive director. Dave, thanks for the time today.
Hey, Jason. Appreciate you having me on.
Anytime. And this is an interesting time to talk to an executive director at one of the larger clubs in the metro Atlanta area on a number of fronts. Let's start with just what this season has been like for NASA with everything stopping and what you guys are doing right now to kind of keep things moving along, keep connected to the kids.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a crazy time. I'm stealing this line from someone else, but the way someone put it to me that I thought described it best is we're having to try to come up with answers to questions we've never been asked before. And that's just not youth soccer, obviously. That's a lot of parts of everybody's life right now. So it's been kind of chaotic, trying to keep everybody calm, trying to keep the membership calm. We've done a great job with our coaching staff of organizing team meetings through Zoom and GoToMeeting. I would say mostly the Zoom platform. We have a number of coaches that have built YouTube channels to put training on. So our staff has tried to the best of their ability to stay engaged with the players, and it's been received well. We've had one-on-one player and parent evals over Zooms as well. So doing what we can. And I don't think we're doing anything different than all the other major clubs out there in Atlanta are doing. All good clubs, all trying really hard to still stay connected and service their membership.
Has there been communication between you and some of the other executive directors and DOCs around the area, kind of all figuring this stuff out?
Definitely. Some of us are closer with each other than others. But I would say the whole network of DOCs will bounce ideas off each other. I think I came up with a good response to a question that we were getting in our club, and I shared that with a couple other clubs, and they just changed a couple things and they used it. I know I've taken ideas shared with a couple other clubs about how to handle this. So we're all trying to pool the best practices together and work with each other. We all want to kill each other on the field, and we all want to beat each other, but in these times, the soccer community is shown to be pretty tight.
How hard is it in your role, going beyond just the coaching and the curriculum side of things, running an organization right now in a membership capacity that you're not able to actually see your members on a regular basis? How difficult has that been for you?
That's one of the most important parts of what we do, being able to interact with the kids, being able to interact with the parents. That face-to-face, one-on-one interaction and group dynamics is what drives, youth sports and most youth organizations. So it's cool. The technology that we're getting to use to work with the kids is kind of cool because it's new. But everybody's ready to get back out on the field. It's easier to connect with the players. It's what everybody's used to. So we're not quite ready for this to be the new world yet.
Yeah, and what that new world looks like, I mean, I don't think any of us really know, but you guys have to start looking at what summer, fall, is going to be. And I've seen, clubs put out notices for tryouts. What does the tryout process look like for you guys?
Well, right now, everybody has their normal tryout set up, ready to run as soon as the counties and cities and everyone will allow us back out on the fields to hold large group organized events. We don't think that's probably going to happen here at the end of May, even though all of us have dates end of May, early June down for our tryouts right now. We're kind of all in a holding pattern. I think everybody's comfortable with going into the month of June and pushing the tryouts back a little bit, but I don't think anybody's comfortable getting past, let's say, July 1st. So if that's the case, then kids will be committing to the clubs they played on last year. It'll probably minimize movement between clubs just because you don't have the opportunity to see kids. I mean, if you really think about it, tryouts are for kids you haven't seen before because you've seen the kids you've had for the last 12 months at their best and their worst. And many of those kids we've had for years. So tryouts is the opportunity to measure other kids we don't know up against them. So that's what's going to get eliminated with what's going on.
It's a challenge that I'm sure everybody's trying to figure out what they can do and what the time frame's going to look like. The other big development here recently is the loss of the DA with U.S. Soccer, and now MLS has created a platform on their end with clubs from the outside. You have so many different options right now. What has that change in the landscape done for you guys?
Well, it was very, to see what happened with U.S. Soccer and their decision to shut down the Development Academy. That was very disappointing. We've been involved in the DA since about 2010, I believe. And we were very supportive. Obviously, we wanted to support our federation. We wanted to help spread the training philosophies and the playing principles. And, we were very supportive of it. And so to see it come to an end the way it did, was sad. How things move on from here. The ECNL is a fantastic platform. The kids still get to engage in high school soccer if they choose to through the ECNL platform that didn't exist in the old DA. But then on the girls' side, the Girls Academy League popped up, which is, I think that's 70% of the teams that were in the girls' DA. A bunch of teams went to the ECNL, and then a collection of them created this Girls Academy League.
It's fascinating looking at it from the outside. I mean, I've been involved on the youth side with soccer in the streets in the past, and looking at what player development's like. It's changed so much over the last 10, 15 years, really since the DA started. Where do you feel player development is on the boys and the girls sides in the Metro Atlanta area right now?
I think Atlanta has grown to be a hotbed for youth soccer. I think probably over the last 10 or 15 years, numerous teams, and you can go back even into the late 90s really, but numerous teams coming out of here have challenged for and won national championships at all the levels that exist in youth soccer. So I think what's going on now is a good thing. I think the advancements in coaching education, having Atlanta United here in town that is supporting all the clubs with coaching education. I think the overall level of coaching has improved tremendously. And I think a big part of that has to do with a younger generation of coaches than myself that grew up playing the game, went to college and played it, and have decided to get into coaching now. So, I mean, I think it's, the future was very, very bright pre-coronavirus for Atlanta youth soccer. I still think we're going to be a hotbed of players. I just don't know if the rest of the country will see that for the next 3 years or so, or however long it takes us to get back to what we previously knew as normal travel soccer.
Yeah, I've had this conversation with a couple of people, and I can see a scenario where coming out of this, I think for a while we started to get into a lot of regional play, a lot more travel, traveling to other states for league matches. Do you think maybe in this coronavirus world, post-coronavirus world, we see more of a turn to be more local and focus more on the local side?
Yeah, I definitely think that'll be the case, especially early. I'm budgeting to take a hit in my registration numbers at my club for the fall, and that's not for anything other than I think there's going to be a percentage of people that are just going to be like, listen, we want our kid to get back out there and play, but we don't want to put them in an organized sports environment until the spring. We're going to see how this plays out. So we know that's going to be in play. So I think that'll retract the national championships and the big time tournaments everybody used to get comfortable going to. But my gut tells me that if there's not a big second wave of the coronavirus, if it does continue to, the stats get better and things continue to trend the way they are, and there's not this giant second wave in the fall, I think everybody will start creeping back to normal. But my gut tells me it's going to be 3 years before we're putting kids on buses or on airplanes and shipping them off to other parts of the country or even over to Europe to play soccer.
You mentioned coaching education, and I think it's an area where we've seen a lot of strides in it. And when I talked to Tony Annan, he talked about, during this time, he's been really trying to learn new things and figure out how to do new things. Even though you don't have the competition component, and even though you probably won't have the long-distance competition component, do you think maybe the strides in coaching education could benefit youth soccer even during that 3-year period you talk about?
Yeah, I mean, the whole magic to it is, you come up with some ideas from a coach that's somewhere in the Bundesliga. You like his ideas. You blend it in with your ideas. You apply it to training. If you're a high-level team, if you're Tony Annan, well, you apply it to training, and that all looks great. But how do you really measure it? You really measure it by going and playing toe-to-toe with FC Dallas. Mm-hmm. And so it depends the level you're at. That I think you need that. Depending on who you are, you need to have that competition to find out whether your new ideas about how to train the players or your new philosophies are going to work. So you can do all kinds of things. It's like going to med school and getting straight A's and then you got to actually go be a doctor. You got to go, perform surgery or do whatever. It's just a different animal. So the coaching education, and there's a lot of stuff out there, and we encourage our staff to read how everyone does it, read how everybody's different philosophy plays into what they do, and then mix it all up and you pull out a bit what you think is important to you as a coach, and that's how you create your own style.
I want to talk specifically about the girls' side because I think a lot of times, when we talk DA, we talk about player development, we're focusing on the boys, but the girls' game is in an interesting place in the U.S. with the NWSL starting to take root and starting to grow. You have the success of the national team. Where do you feel like girls soccer is in the Metro Atlanta area?
Well, I think it's very, very strong. I want to say there might be, north of 20 female players here in Atlanta that are part of the U.S. Youth National Program at some level or another. I know that we personally have 13 or 14 of them that play inside of our program. So I think there's a hotbed for talent here in Atlanta for the U.S. Women's National Team program. I think the challenge when we got serious in women's soccer and got to the top of the mountain in the late 90s with Mia and all them, other countries who never paid attention to soccer started paying attention to women's soccer, and now they're all pouring tons of money and resources into it. So on the women's national team level, we're still the best, and I think that's a lot because of our athleticism and our fight and our heart. I think our players are very, very good, but there's some other countries that play, and you look at that and you go, wow, that's a different level of soccer than I've seen in women's soccer. And so I think that's the challenge for our women's national team on the big scale of things. But I think we're the most talented, and I think we're sitting on top of the mountain. So we got to prepare ourselves to take everybody's best shot moving forward for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think pre-COVID-19 Atlanta was ready for an NWSL team?
Jason, I thought it twice. I thought it with the first run of the beat. I thought it when Fitz and those guys made the second run at it. I don't know. I just don't know. If it comes down to making sure you get X amount of kids in the stands, it's just been tough for them to overcome that. And I don't know the answer. So I think I would love to see it, but I'm not sure that the market would support it any different than it does like professional lacrosse or something like that. You would think based on the youth lacrosse players that are around, that would be a bigger thing than it is. So, I look at it this way. I've been waiting 25 years for soccer to be a mainstream sport. And it really wasn't until, Uncle Arthur stepped to the plate that it became one here in Atlanta. Atlanta United what they've done. Darren Eales, phenomenal. Bocanegra, Tony, what they've done has been phenomenal. But if Arthur doesn't step up at the very beginning of it, I don't think it becomes what it has become. And that's helped fuel the youth soccer market in Atlanta to a whole different level. If nothing else, just through the passion and the love of the sport.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that. I mean, we've been around during the Ruckus days, the Silverbacks days, and we didn't have that kind of feeling that we've had since Atlanta United. What have you seen at your club change since Atlanta United started playing?
It's just the buzz and the as much as I hate to tip the hat towards the marketing process of it all, I think it's Arthur Blank and the Falcons marketing machine and making sure that the word was everywhere. And then the team came flying out the gate playing exciting soccer. And then, oh my God, they win a lot. And then, oh my goodness, look at this. They might be able to win the whole thing. So all those things build on top of each other. The original buzz out the gate was, I tell my wife to this day, walking underneath I-75 or underneath the connector, going from the tailgate to the stadium. I mean, I have chills thinking about it today, listening to that 5-gallon drum guy play on the end of it. I mean, but it all came together. It was like a perfect formula, Skate, who was at Atlanta United, did a phenomenal job. They had a lot of great people in the right place at the right time. And it was just a kind of a magic formula. I don't know that it works. I don't know that it's a formula that can be repeated in every city. But I'm sure glad I was in Atlanta when it went down.
So when we start to look at how we bounce back from this, what effect do you think this is going to have on that formula Atlanta United's had, that success Atlanta United's had, and MLS and pro soccer as a whole?
I think you're going to see supporter groups all show up with their own logoed masks and everybody wearing gloves and touching elbows or air high-fiving or whatever. And then if there's not a wave of this, I think the gloves slowly disappear and fewer people are wearing masks and it slowly flows back. I don't know if it'll ever be exactly like it was. I think, like the guys at the faction and all those people are probably going to have to follow some new safety guidelines with what they do. But I don't know. In my mind, I can't wrap my brain around professional sports not coming back and that atmosphere not being there. I mean, it's just you've lived it more than me. Can you imagine being in that stadium and nobody's there but, 3 or 4 of you guys broadcasting out of a box and then the teams?
It's going to be strange. I mean,
hollow.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. I mean, everybody will be able to hear Mike and I yelling the whole time, which I don't know if that's a good thing. We get kind of rambunctious sometimes. Awesome. The referees will hear us.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, though. That's the way it should be.
I don't know about that. Some of the referees would disagree.
See, maybe that's your next. Here's your next business model: is you guys need to put somebody in the box with you that is there to defend the referee. So when you guys start going off, that person can counter the referee's point of view.
That would be good.
There you go.
I try to look out for the referees, but there's a few who, some things happen, and I get a little riled up. Happens.
I'm right there with you. I've become wiser in my later years. I was definitely not the referee's friend for the first half of my coaching career, to say the least. So
I think all of us were that, and now as we get a little bit older, we try to be a little more balanced. But things happen from time to time.
Exactly.
Well, let everybody know where they can follow what's going on with NASA Tophat.
You can follow us. We are NASA Tophat at Facebook. I don't know all the little things that you have to put in there, but we're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. NASAtophat.com. All the information is out there on tryouts, and they will move and when they'll move to and what our next steps are and what our guidelines will be for back to play. All that stuff will be out there. We're just crossing our fingers. We got to come back sooner than later.
Well, hopefully next time we chat, it'll either be at a brewery where we're doing a live show and talking about that getting back on the field, or we'll just be catching up on what those next steps are. Hopefully this doesn't last too much longer.
I look forward to it. I appreciate you guys having me on, Jason. And yeah, I definitely look forward to sharing a pint with you and being on again, hopefully sometime in the near future.